Senator from Ohio.
I ask unanimous consent to dispense with a quorum.
Without objection.
Mr. President, I will be joined by Senator Alexander is here. Senator Murray will be joining us in a moment. The chair and the ranking member of the Health, Education, Labor, Pension Committee, which has jurisdiction over this really, really important issue of sick leave, sick pay. And many companies do that in this country. We're the only country in the world that doesn't have a real policy, the only wealthy country. As Senator Alexander says, we do this for federal employees. It should be more than those of us who are federal employees. We need today, Mr. President, to get help to the people who need it now, parents whose children's schools are closed, people who aren't getting paid, people have trouble making rent, making their mortgage payments or their student loan payments. Paid sick days are one of the most important ways we do that. That's why we need to pass this bill today. Think about restaurant workers preparing our food. Think about what you do if your child's school closes down for a week. For so many people, taking a sick day means going without pay, potentially losing their jobs. I mean, put yourself in a position hard for us to do who are lucky enough and privileged enough to have these jobs, and for most of our staff also. But think about a worker making $10 an hour. That worker has symptoms that she might think, she's the only working person in her family, she might think that her illness is the coronavirus, but nonetheless, her illness is debilitating enough, it's hard for her to go to work. She's making $12 an hour. So she stays home and she loses $100 that day. She has a $700 a month rent payment. She possibly lower if she's making $12 an hour. She has to make a decision, do I go to work and potentially infect others, but get my pay and maybe make myself sicker, or do I stay home to get well and give up that $100? And then you think about some of those workers. Some of them might be a restaurant worker preparing our food. Think about what else you do if your child's school closes down for a week. As schools already, Ohio State and Kent State and Case Western and Baldwin-Wallace have shut their doors, not really shut their doors. They're doing learning by distance learning, telelearning, but it means a number of people at those schools are in a very different situation with their employment. Taking a sick day means going without pay. Typically, taking a sick day may mean losing your job. And it hurts everyone. If you're lucky enough to have paid time off, everybody's at risk when more people are out and about when they're sick. Our office gets calls from workers all the time. I know Senator Alexander has Tennesseans call him. Senator Murray has Washingtonians calling her, asking, what do I do if I come down with something? I have to choose between going to work while I'm sick or losing a paycheck or losing my job. I mean, it really is because of our policy, we have put people in that situation, or they're in that situation, and we have an obligation now to do something about it. It's unacceptable that millions of Americans are faced with that impossible choice, and that choice gets worse. I don't know how many people are faced with that choice today. We know it's millions. Tomorrow it'll be 1.2 times that, and the next day maybe half again. I mean, we know that this is getting worse before it gets better. I'm not alarmist. I think we have some of the best public health officials in the world, public health professionals. I think that my governor in Ohio, a Republican, Mike DeWine, and I have talked a couple of times extensively. People in Ohio are doing this right. We don't always get the leadership out of the White House we'd like when we see the president saying something almost the opposite of our public health professionals. I tend to listen to the public health professionals. I know Senator Alexander does too. I would be hopeful the president does. We know that this impossible choice is getting more and more serious. Some corporations do the right thing. Many are not doing the right thing. Some are promising they're going to do the right thing, but promises are not enough. We need to pass this bill now. Our legislation would require all employers to allow workers to accrue 7 days of paid sick leave. And the bill would also provide an additional 14 days that would be available immediately in the event of any public health emergency like we have right now. This is a public health emergency. We need to do emergency kind of legislation. This is unusual, extraordinary problem, we have to do something extraordinary here. Passing this bill, allowing workers to accrue 7 days of paid sick leave, providing an additional 14 days available immediately in the event of any public health emergency is what we need to do. Congress can't wait. People are choosing between going to work sick and missing a paycheck. They're making that choice every day. People in Memphis and Cleveland, people in Omaha and Dayton are making that choice every day. Do I go to work sick, or do I stay home and miss that $120 that I was going to earn this week? We need this day. We need the bill to prevent the spread of coronavirus and stop this crisis getting worse. It's about the dignity of work. It's about public safety. I will wait for the UC request I will wait Senator Murray to make the UC request, and I yield the floor.